My mother always told me to be careful what I wished for, and I should have listened to her. But does anybody ever really listen to advice like that? Especially when you're young. I'm sure many don't, and neither did I, because I ended up wishing for something I regretted later. I wished for a younger sibling. I got my brother about a year after I made my wish, and I almost immediately resented him. Everything became about him, and rarely was any attention ever focused on me anymore. It was always the baby this and the baby that. I would ask my parents to help me out with my homework, and it was never the right time because the baby needs me right now, Kate. I hated him. Keenan was a goddamn great big wound on my life. It got worse as the years passed. Keenan could do no wrong, but I, on the other hand, was blamed for anything and everything and seen as a problem child. I guess in a way it was a good thing though. At least my parents were giving me some attention, even if it was lectures and screaming matches when I tried to defend myself. It was always impossible for me to view my brother in a positive light. I know you should love your siblings as long as they're not abusive assholes, but it was so hard for me to love him. Especially when I had to cancel all my plans to watch him like I just did a month ago. Mom and Dad wanted to go out to celebrate my dad getting a new and prestigious client at his firm. Celebrating meant no kids allowed because they wanted to go hit the casino about 2 hours away from us, and that meant I'd have to watch my brother all night. Just my luck. When they left, I sat my brother in front of the TV and I went upstairs to talk to my friends through Skype. I ranted about how much I hated having to be the parent all the time when it came to Keenan and how sick and tired I was of never getting to go out and have fun anymore. They only could say how sorry they were. It felt like hollow sympathy. Eventually I got tired of that too and I went downstairs to make food. It was just spaghetti, something quick and easy and that I knew Keenan liked. I don't want spaghetti, Keenan complained when I set the plate down in front of him. Well, too bad, eat it. But I don't want it. I made it and you're going to eat it. But Mom always makes me something else, he said softly, poking the food with his fork. Well, I'm not Mom, so just eat it. I don't want to. Keenan, if you don't eat, you can go to bed right now and go hungry for the rest of the night. I don't care. He puffed out his cheeks in annoyance, but at least he started to eat. Mom and Dad babied him far too much, but the behavior he got away with my parents wasn't going to fly with me. He was quiet while he ate, his face eventually relaxing, and once he was done, he gently placed his plate and utensils in the sink and he thanked me, giving me a great big smile, the only way he ever smiled. Most would think it's sweet, but I didn't think that. Keenan went back into the living room and I was just left to clean up the kitchen. I heard him start up his little toy car and I had to bear the annoying little sounds it made as it zipped around. I was just finishing up when I heard a crash. I ran into the living room to see Mom's favorite vase had been knocked over and shattered. Keenan's toy car had crashed into the table it sat on. I had told Mom time and time again that the table was far too fragile, and I was furious. I just knew I would get in trouble for this, even if I left the stupid car where it was. Keenan was looking at me with those big, brown eyes of his. He looked about ready to cry. I'm sorry, Kate, I didn't mean to. If you were really sorry, you'd stop doing this, I screamed. You're always breaking things and I get in trouble for it. I'm so sick of it, Keenan. I'm sick of you. I wish I had a different brother, or better yet, none at all. Kate, Keenan whined. I could see tears now. I don't want to hear it from you. Go to your room. He bolted up the stairs and I heard his bedroom door slam shut. Maybe I was being too harsh, yelling at an 8-year-old like that, but I didn't care. I was angry and I had to clean up the vase and prepare myself to get yelled at in the morning when my parents returned. I ended up going to bed after throwing away the shards. I was still fuming and I wanted to sleep off the headache I had given myself, but I didn't get to though. About an hour after I fell asleep, I heard knocking at my door. Kate, Keenan whispered. Kate, can I come in? Go away. Kate, please. There's somebody outside my window. It's not funny. I'm serious. With a sigh, I got up and I opened the door. He darted in and he jumped out of my bed. Oh no, you're not staying in here. Come with me so I can show you nothing's there. He hesitated until I took a step towards him, and then he was scrambling off the bed and taking my hand to lead him to his room. Pushing back the curtains, I looked out into the darkness. See, there's nothing. I stopped him because that's when I saw something. It was standing just inside the woods behind our house. Its eyes glowed. It was short, not helped by the fact it was hunched over. It was too dark to make any of its features out, but I think it had fur. It looked up at us, and suddenly more shadowy figures darted up from behind that one as they came from the figure itself. Suddenly, they were moving fast towards the house. Keenan screamed and I panicked. I picked him up and I ran from the room and into mine, where I snatched up the phone and I attempted to call my mom.
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service.
What the hell? I tried my dad and I got the same message. And finally, I dialed 911. I screamed and I checked my phone at the wall. Kate! I looked over to see Keenan pointing at the vent above my bed. I didn't know why he was doing that until I saw a small, dark finger sticking out. I didn't know why he was doing it until I saw small, dark fingers sticking out. They grabbed onto the grate as best as I could and they began to violently shake it as an attempt to get it loose. Keenan, come here! I grabbed his hand and I ran from my room. I was planning on going downstairs, planning on getting into the car and driving off, but when we reached the top of the steps, I heard glass breaking and something scrambling across the floor. I could see one of the other vents downstairs, and just like in my room, I saw fingers slip through the openings and grab on. I was considering running back into Keenan's room and jumping down from there, but that quickly died when I heard his bedroom window sliding open. We couldn't do anything but hide. My parents' room was on the other side of the house, past Keenan's room, and I didn't want to take the chance of getting grabbed by whatever creatures were invading our house. I took Keenan and I ran into the closet at the end of the hallway, right next to the bathroom. I held the door closed, using all my strength to do so as I heard the things moving about. They were stomping and scurrying and it sounded like they were scratching at the walls. Kate, Keenan whimpered. Shh, be quiet. I didn't mean for it to sound so harsh, but I didn't apologize. I was too focused on the noise. The sounds continued to grow louder and louder until they finally stopped and everything went eerily quiet. It lasted long enough for me to wonder if perhaps I should peek out and see what's going on, but then the door handle was turning in my hand and I grabbed on again as the things tried their best to open the door. I myself attempted to keep the door shut. I really did, but in the end it was wrenched open and the creatures poured into the closet. I heard Keenan scream before I was knocked out, and then I was waking up in my own bed, with the sunlight streaming in through the window and the grate above was in place. I got up and made my way to my brother's room to see the window closed and him absent from his bed. Going downstairs, I saw nothing broken or moved and even Mom's vase was intact and sitting on the table again. I found Keenan sitting in the kitchen. He looked up to me and said, Kate, I'm hungry. Yeah, okay, I said dumbly, not sure how else to react. I was at a loss for words and I wasn't sure if I should even bring up last night. I was starting to question if it had even happened at all. What do you want to eat? French toast, please. All right. He smiled at me, and while it was wide, it was wrong. So very wrong. It wasn't his smile. It was slightly crooked, a little smug actually, and it didn't meet his eyes. For a second, I thought that this couldn't be my brother, but I shook it off. Of course it was. It had to be. So I turned to go into the fridge to grab what I needed to start making breakfast, but stopped. And I stared at Keenan's reflection in the chrome of the appliance. His eyes and mouth were nothing but a black void. Kate, is something wrong? The voice was almost mocking. No, nothing is wrong. I just didn't sleep well. That was my excuse and he bought it. I think. When Mom and Dad came home, Keenan ran to them and I stood back and watched as this thing hugged my parents. I didn't say a word. They wouldn't have believed me anyway. Everything was fine at first. This fake was sweet and didn't do the things that result in getting me into trouble. Even if my brother had done all those things by accident, I realized a little too late. For a week now though, this Keenan has started to get more out of control. I think he killed the neighbor's cat the other day. I don't know what happened to my real brother, but I think he's somewhere in the woods with those things. I go in there sometimes and call for him, but there's never an answer. I just hope he's alive. I know soon enough this imitation Keenan won't be. I have to protect us. I can't let him hurt us, and maybe, just maybe, those things will come back and give me my little brother when this goes up in flames. Mom always said to be careful what I wished for. I should have listened to her.